Charging your keyboard there.
Right. I don't know that I'll need the keyboard because I'll do the notes here.
Do full screen.
I have presentations I'll probably pull up.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And then we should be good to go. Okay. Oh, and testing the live stream. Okay. Oh, you want that one on?
I do, I think, because Joe Fiumara is probably gonna be here.
Okay, cool.
And he has the presentations, they're public health presentations.
Let's see. So it is.
It should be.
Two. Oh, I gotta point it at the right spot. I'll put 2.
It should be on both if that TV's on.
Okay. By default.
The last time I used it, I think it was on, but.
Television. Look at this. This is ours from downstairs, actually.
Is it? Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably was you guys were having issues up here, so I brought it up, and we haven't needed it downstairs.
Well, there's several remotes around.
There are, and the videos all work, so. Yep, there you go. There's another one. Okay, so testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Ask Jen. There you go. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that? We have audio. Okay, perfect. Good. Good.
Something else come in there?
What's that?
Tim, we're ready.
Cindy dances or get a thumbs up coming back or how do we? I don't know. Thank you, Bob.
There's another one of those
Oh, I
black
can
chairs
just back
out
here.
by my desk or. Are you sure? Okay.
Blood on the crowded day.
Oh, goodness.
All right.
I think it's ready again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the BOC work session. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hope everybody came back with 10 digits. Hands and feet. Here's what I'm worried about. At this time, I would like for us to make sure that we sing happy birthday to Nick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nick. Happy birthday to you. And congratulations on the wedding.
Yeah.
Still married?
Yeah.
Did you get paid? Can't wait to hear.
Congratulations, Nick.
You did miss out on seeing Cindy Hackberg to the board meeting last week.
Ah.
There you go. So Nick, how old are you?
29.
29.
I remember that.
That's amazing. My great grandmother died at 29. She just never got any older than that. Every year.
Still 29. Oh, like
My dad also.
That's all I was started, Johnny.
additions to the agenda. Megan, did you have, Bob, did you guys want to,
We're on the agenda.
the outdoor gathering?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mass gathering.
I have several things I'm gonna bring to the agenda. Contract renewals. Cycle.
Man,
But Bob and Megan, you gotta stick for that.
okay.
And I guess until I remember what the other ones are. Good there. So, let's go ahead and get started with the outdoor gathering.
So we have put together a memo and application. This started, in May, there was a request from Boxing Gloves to host an outdoor event. And, Nick came to us and said it didn't seem to fit the state statute for outdoor mass gathering. But that has been our practice, was to take basically a zoning permit application to the board. And then the board would decide at a public meeting if they wanted to allow an event to occur. So I looked at state statute a little bit in our county code, and essentially there's a conflict. So in our code, under the farm use zone and the grazing farm zone, under zoning permit, says a gathering of fewer than 3,000 persons as not anticipated to continue for more than 128 hours in any 3-month period is not a land use decision as defined in ORS 197 or subject to review under OAR 660 Division 33. So it doesn't fall as a mass gathering, but we still require a zoning permit, and staff haven't made that decision. It's gone to the board. But recently we've had a really high increase of people wanting to host gatherings. So the wine events, boxing gloves, other types of outdoor gatherings. And so we're asking for the board to provide guidance on how you would like those processed. So in the meantime, we would also be amending our development code to reflect the board's wishes.
I'll jump in to start with if you guys want. Okay.
Absolutely.
This one we've done in the past, the boxing one, right?
A decision was not made at the last meeting.
No, I mean past years.
No, it was a new event.
This is a new event.
This is a new event.
Okay. Did they submit a traffic?
No, so what was asked of them was to get letters from the neighbors, including one property that was not contiguous, which was Petros Vineyards, saying that they were okay with the event to occur. The property owner at this time still has not been able to submit all of that, so we have not rescheduled it.
Okay.
And we've heard before on that, it's unconstitutional to require neighbors to consent. We can't require consent from anyone other than the applicant.
What about notice?
Oh, that's interesting.
Notice is fine, but we can't because it's unconstitutionally delegating authority.
According to the other property. Got it. That makes sense, actually. But the notice, we can require notice to the,
Absolutely notice, but it's not required consent.
okay.
So that was one of the questions that we had for you is if you would like us to provide notice before these go to the board, so that nearby property owners can attend.
Have the opportunity to respond if they want. Yeah, I would. Me.
That's your meter.
I didn't see that.
The other thing is, I'm all for all of these gatherings, because I think it's part of our culture, to be honest with you. These Umatilla County, whether they've had permits or not, we have a lot of outdoor gatherings. This county, in every area. But what I would suggest, because you guys are starting to spend more and more time on it, is do we have the opportunity to increase the fee on this?
So what I would propose is that we establish a new application specifically for these outdoor gatherings, a gathering license application. And I would think at that point, we could establish a separate fee. Is that right, Doug?
Yes.
No, yeah. Because we are, I think it's good that people are aware that they need to get these permits. I know we have them going on without them. And again, I'm all for outdoor gatherings. It's just really part of our culture.
So going back to the notices, for in those zones, we send notice out 750 feet for other uses. Is that the same distance you would like these to go out? Or is that too far?
I think that's, when you take into consideration noise and parking, I think that's legitimate. I always like to look at the parking maps that people submit, because it makes me think about it.
Yeah, that was a thing that we were going to require in there is a parking and traffic control plan. So this application that I provided is one that we took from another county. Marion County actually has a pretty good gathering ordinance. I tailored it to Umatilla County, but some things that I wasn't sure if the board wanted to keep in there. The public safety plan and then a health and medical plan. So this would apply to events that are less than 3,000. Our question was, are those types of plans necessary for smaller events?
What they cover.
Yeah, parking and crowd control for the safety plan, and it says to have it approved by the sheriff's office.
For the LCCP, right?
No, this is
No, for the
separate.
crowd.
They would still have to get their LLC. Yeah, and then the health and medical plan, it says copy of health and medical plan approved by environmental health relating to water supply, sewage facility, refuse storage and disposal, food and sanitary service, emergency medical facilities as required by county health.
I'd like to have Joe and Alicia chime in on that.
So what I can say is to date, we're not involved in this process outside of, folks need a license to serve food, and we are aware of it. We talk to them about that. What I can tell you is that differs across the state. There's a lot of environmental health departments that, and in case in some counties, this process is entirely held within environmental health. In May, OHA sent us all a survey requesting all of the data regarding what we do for mass gatherings. I have not seen the results of that survey yet. They have not shared that yet. So it would be additional work from my office
I
if
was
we
gonna
were
say,
doing that.
Do you
Yeah.
think it's something that your office should be involved in?
I think it's something that makes sense. I mean, to a point, you say less than 3,000 people. I don't know what the bottom threshold of that
It's
is.
about 100.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So, I think there's a point at which the answer is probably no. But I don't think it's unreasonable for somebody to be looking at that.
So what if we set the mass gathering number at 1,000 and not 3,000?
Yeah, I would recommend that the floor be explicit as opposed to the widths, frankly, that was just under 3,000, because that would cover, I mean, everything.
2,999.
If, well, I mean, it was
Go down to
cover
10.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like 300 and up to 1,000, and then different rules for 1,000 and more.
So the statute floor is 3,000 is what takes it into an ambulance gathering.
We can be more strict, but we can't be less strict than statute. I mean,
So right now, the statute says if it's less than 3,000, they don't have to have a permit.
Correct, but our development code says that they do.
we'll keep sticking with that.
Over, but what's the
Yeah,
bottom?
what's the number? Yeah.
300, 500? I think you're right, Nick. I think it has to be, what do you guys think?
I mean, we always tell people if it's like your friend's wedding that you're hosting in your backyard, or you're not charging a fee, that you don't need a permit. But the events that they're charging people to get in is what we encourage.
That makes sense too. Again, it put people in a kind of a CrossFit. Well, no, because 3,000 is the max, so whatever below that is up to us, right?
Seems like 500 or more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if it's less than 500, you don't need a land use permit.
Yeah.
I would say. So.
That is this one?
It's just under 3,000.
No, how many for the boxing one?
oh, like a,
Yeah, so we would need a permit. for this one.
It's 100 to 200. Yeah, 100 to 200.
You want to put 500 or if it's commercial.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then going back to the discussion on health and safety, perhaps in the application, we have, explanations. I mean, if you're planning on having food trucks or food service that, proper health permits are required, you could go so far as having a sign off saying they've been to environmental health to get those permits before they turn in their application to us. Or, sign off that they've discussed with the health department,
Or can they just send you a copy of the permit they have?
Well, I mean, depending on how it's done, permits may or may not be needed. Right? I
Whether
mean,
they're cooking on site and all that stuff.
well, right. I mean, if you're cooking on site, who's doing the cooking, right? If you're bringing in food trucks, as long as they're licensed in Oregon, you're good. But if you're bringing them down from Walla Walla, then they have to get, so like it depends a little bit.
So Bob's idea of a notification is probably pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty prudent.
and I think if we're just looking at that aspect of it, I don't know that that's much different than what we would be doing anyways. It just helps us put it in front of us instead of us having to seek it out.
Okay. Yeah, we had a checklist in there to send notice to health, sheriff's office, the fire district that covers that property, public works and water resources.
before we move on, might consider setting on the commercial point the, but we might consider doing a floor on that as well. They can be lower, but you know, somebody's running like a farm stand or something like that. They
That's
have
not an event.
10 people there. Right, but I think it's worded as just a gathering. Not necessarily that it's like an.
Farm stands have their own new
Yeah,
statute.
they do.
It's something to consider.
I'd hate to overcomplicate it.
I think it's too late for that.
And we're might be bordering on that now.
I don't think you're bordering on it at all.
Oh, look behind you.
Yeah. I think the drive, is that good enough direction for you guys?
I think so, yeah. So, I'll take out those two plans then, because it's 500, or do you want to keep the plans in? Public safety plan reviews by Sharon Sullivan's.
I'd say it's probably.
And then just coordinating
Safety
with-
plan would go over 3,000.
The other thing on there, do you want to require insurance for the event or leave it up to the property owners?
Also property owner, don't it? In that
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah, we'd have no liability.
Yeah.
That could be played where they like that.
Yeah, I think that was all I had, unless there were other things that the board wanted to include in these applications before they get to.
None of this modifies the OLCC permit application.
Correct. They still have to get their LCC license.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Before you guys go, I'm going to touch on recycle before we get to Joe. Those points. Lots of calls, obviously. But the one that, most of them are easy enough. That's not a big deal. But there is a group of people out at Mackay that want recycle. So my direction to them, is to put their folks together, put a group together, go to Pendleton Sanitary and make a proposal. Pendleton Sanitary would have to develop the boundaries for that. And then come to us for the rates, to approve rate, whatever they are.
I will share, I took a screenshot of what's happening in Pendleton. Says, just wondering if there is a legal mind in the area, I'm gonna try and do this with a straight face, by the way. A legal mind in the area that could opine on the possibility of putting a class action lawsuit together for the $8 a month that we're now charged for recycling, even if we opt out.
There
Seems
is
to
no
me
opt-out.
that, yeah, seems to me that since we do have a choice here, that we shouldn't have to pay for services not rendered. Any thoughts, anyone? When I took that screenshot, it was 109. It's well over 200 now.
Wow.
So, and people are all excited
And
wanting.
your shirt got lit up on that one. I mean,
I let up on a lot of
I
things.
don't even know how that happened.
Well, I know how it happened, but that's neither here nor there. I think, but for the monk, all I'm really looking at is the Mackay folks, because they seem to be organized to an extent. But I think that there's.
So
There.
there are some subdivisions outside the UGB, of course, that there's a significant population that lives out there below the dam but they aren't receiving recycling service. So you have some folks that are upset because they aren't going to be receiving recycling service outside of the UGB. And then you have folks that are inside the UGB that are upset that they are required to pay the fee for a service that they don't necessarily want.
Right. But it's my response is, if you want to put together your group of people, define the boundaries, go to sanitation or Pendleton Sanitary, work with them to establish a rate. That rate would come back in the boundaries, would come back to the county for approved consideration and approval of the rates.
So,
And that's what I got from DEQ too. Stephanie, that they can do that.
point of clarification. According to The comments I'm hearing, you were the one who made all decision. Oh, I can pay a little something. I can't believe it. Are they seriously, when people call to complain to Pendleton Sanitation, are they seriously saying it was you?
Yeah, so social media is saying too, it's all them.
Tough life.
Thanks.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to cover on that. There are, different discussions. I did give Kelsey, and Bob has it too, but Kelsey has Stephanie's phone number for calls that come into the counter here. Just to refer them to be.
Sure, the calls will continue for a while here as people start to get their bills.
There'll be another way.
So there'll be another way of, even though I think this week was the start of the curbside recycling.
And then that speaks to the contamination issue that's going to be a problem.
It already is on the first loads they've taken.
We knew that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when this was first passed, that contamination was going to be a problem.
There's going to be a significant amount of public education that needs to occur, and training people how to recycle, since it is
They haven't done anything in Pendleton.
new to us for the curbside and the thing, so.
See, on the what's happening in Hermiston site, apparently Hermiston got a bag attached to the can. We did not. I didn't get a bag. Did you get a bag on yours? And apparently the bag in Hermiston gave you directions there. I don't even know what day it was picked up. I'm gonna put mine out tonight. Maybe you just picked
It's on
up.
Facebook.
Well, it's
It's on Facebook.
also,
They did.
there's an article in the East Oregonian with instructions as well, specifically for Pendleton.
Are they different depending on the city?
I don't know, just the article was specifically Pendleton Sanitary.
I was,
Picked up this morning.
Tomorrow morning.
so I was informed that Waste Connections, which oversees Pendleton Sanitary and sanitary disposal, did hire a marketing public education person that part of their task is going to be to increase public education around recycling.
That was part of the money they got.
I was gonna say, they'll have to increase the rates.
No, that was part of the money that they received.
And I think that,
So,
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. You're probably more right than wrong.
they do receive funds from DEQ for public education.
A lot of people are saying with the recycle can, they can now go to the smaller garbage can size, and which will save them even, so their out the door costs will be less than it would be before it's all happened anyways. So,
Kelly asked to read out the rates on the small cans.
yeah, that's true.
So what happens if a homeowner just continues to do it wrong?
According to the article in the East Oregonian. So I don't want to speak for the franchise, but there'll be a lot of education provided, but at a certain point, fines can be issued.
Are you in the EGB?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We knew that.
Or if they can't do it properly, then I guess they just stop recycling too, which is the other thing. They'll still be charged for the service, but
So charging.
Right, but they're only
yeah,
charged for the service if they're receiving trash service. Right?
that's true.
I mean, so there is technically a choice individuals can make. It's just not necessarily a very,
Not in the city. If you're in the city, it's a city ordinance. You have to have.
oh, is it?
Certain cities, so yeah, it's true.
It isn't if you're a country bumpkin. You have to-
Sydney burns her trash.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. I want to talk with them about doing it at fair.
Yeah, so we're going to, through the Oregon Opportunity to Recycle program, there's been a push to increase public awareness, so we are going to, have a booth at County Fair that, tag team that with, Waste Connections and, provide some education there.
Probably don't want me working that.
I'll send the sign up out.
You're gonna dunk tank the dam.
Name on there, Dad.
Could have dunk tank. Well, we can make all kinds of different, yeah, you got me.
Thanks, you guys. Bob, anything else for us? I think that's it for today. Megan, thank you. Bob, thank you.
You say that now, but it's only 9:30.
You didn't get Phil's meeting, hopefully.
Yeah.
Next item is nurse practitioner.
Right, that's us.
We should take it up.
So, this item is in regards to specifically the Hermiston Student Health Center, so our school-based health center at Hermiston High School that staffs a nurse practitioner currently at a 0.8 FTE. So they work August through about mid-June with some of the summer or some of the school year breaks off as well. And that equates out to a 0.8 FTE. Oh, I didn't finish my item. That's fine. Okay. And there is, based off utilization over this last year, numbers I did not include. That's my little dashes because I was going to go back and look up that data. I can write that up before we go officially before moving forward. That's lovely. But there's been an increase in utilization over this last year. Many of the families prefer to come for appointments kind of prior to the start of school so that they're, or at the end of the school day, probably more so end of the school day so that their students they can pick up their students at the end of school, bring them over to the health center for their appointment. There was a proposal from the nurse practitioner to increase their hours to a 9-hour day to allow for additional time to see patients mostly in the afternoon and have appropriate time in the morning to be prepared before morning appointments come in. And that proposal would result in a 0.9 FTE rather than a 0.8. And there was that cost increase of what that would result in charging to Hermiston School District for that was proposed to Hermiston School District and approved by them.
This is just a modification of an existing contract.
Correct. Right. For a current employee and an increase in their FTE.
Do they provide sports physicals?
They do.
They do. Okay.
That's a common one where middle schoolers are trying to come over for those after school appointments because a parent needs to bring them. And that's a lot of what they are. And so they'll get off school shortly after 3, then they come into the health center and we typically close by 4. Well, it takes the nurse practitioner until 4 to see that appointment and finish it. And then if, she were to clock out, she wouldn't have finished her charting or wrapping up anything from that visit. And so the longer hours will help with being able to wrap that piece up. So the proposal is 7 a.m. to 4:30 instead of 7:30 to 4. And currently a lot of the time she does stay and then it just results in admin time and she uses. So
is this 2 people or 1 person?
this would be one person. This would not change the hours of the front office person that also works in this space.
So I guess with this, the way you explain that, would it cause overtime then, or is that already built into this?
It's an exempt employee. So they don't.
Others.
No, the goal is still that they would only have the doors unlocked from 7:30 to 4, but this allows the nurse practitioner to have enough time to prep so that we can take an appointment right at 7:30 and we can see an appointment right up until 4 when the doors close, and then she still has time to wrap everything up after the appointment ends.
So there's no general fund on.
No, general fund doesn't go into this budget at all.
Okay.
And the salary increase was proposed by this, or was approved by the school with the negotiation that we would drop our indirect rate from 15% to 13%.
I'm assuming the employee knows about this already.
The employee is who actually brought this idea forward.
Yeah.
It's essentially a 45-hour week per,
On a work day.
on a week that she works. It's 45-hour shift as opposed to a 40 during the times when she works. It doesn't exceed the 1.0 because they don't work much of the summer and then the school breaks, etc.
Right.
Yeah, I have no concerns with this one.
Well, I'll update the pinky name.
Let's get it on the agenda for the next
That's
meeting.
Yes.
Movement of an indirect rate affect general fund? No. So the only question and the only thought I have is, we've set up a process for changing FTEs and it's once a year and it's not this time of year. I support the idea, but it opens doors that you may or may not want to have open going forward.
Only thing about this one, it's a funded, outside funded. And we-
That's a really nice thought and it's a good thought. In this particular case, I think it's a solid thought, but you will have proposals that are not nearly so solid, but they will parallel this
I hope not.
throughout. I can't imagine that it would discontinue at this point in life.
Understood.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I really do. And point well taken, for sure.
And the ask is on this one that it would be effective August 1.
Any other comments on that? Next one?
In that same light, things out of cycle. So this one is in regards to the rural health transformation funding that we received. We had presented at a work session in May about some expansion to the nurse family partnership team, from going from NFP to NFPX through some funding from rural health transformation. That budget and plan went through their review with OHA, and that was approved on June 30th. And then also on June 30th, our site was approved to be NFPX, kind of in alignment with this plan. So some great things are coming together. With that, with the rural health transformation proposal that was made, we're asking for that funds the creation of 2 positions per what we proposed. One being a nursing supervisor that would oversee this team and also carry a caseload of clients, and the addition of a community health worker position. Today, I'm just discussing and proposing or seeking if there's interest in creating the nursing supervisor position. We're not talking today about the community health worker one. That needs to go through other pieces as far as creation of the title within the union and extra steps. But this title already exists, and we're hoping if there is interest in moving that forward, that would be ready to be approved as a position within this home visiting budget so that we could post and recruit for it with that plan. This does, per our proposal that we gave, does use general fund overall in the entire expansion of the program. Based off what we presented before, we were looking at proposing a potential use of about 40,000 in general fund, most of that being part of what is needed to pay the match for targeted case management, which is a revenue source that'll be coming in with doing the additional caseload. Since our last proposal, or since our last presentation to everyone, we do have positive feedback coming in from the federal McV funding source that we also get through OHA to increase how much money comes to our site for that as well. So how much general fund actually gets used should be lower than what we proposed, but I don't know what that official number will be. So that's kind of the first half of this. For your questions.
First thought was congratulations on the grant. That's huge. So.
Yeah. So was the NFPX application. That was a multi-step piece. And
Yeah.
they looked over a lot of data, and it reflects well on our team that our team showed to be a strong and impactful team through their data, and was favorable for doing the expanded
It
eligibility.
was a very intense grant application.
Well, and ours wasn't through the application, our
right.
process, right? Our amount was a carve out, but we still had to put forth the budget and a project plan.
Yeah.
Which still had to go through multiple sets of review, but did come back approved.
Good. A lot of work went into it. Yeah.
So my question, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, but is this, does this make a, if you take the federal money, it's a 3-year commitment?
Okay, so then the second half of what's proposed in here is a revenue source that we could apply for, which is called the incentive fund through Changent, which is the National Service Office for NFP. If you're doing an expansion of your caseload, which the supervisor position would be expanding our caseload, then you can apply to the national office. If you can say, yes, we will have 2/3 of the money, they will match 1/3 of the money for that expanded FTE. And so I proposed both of these in the same piece, because if we stick to kind of the proposal that we made in May, we need to make an attempt at seeking after that incentive funding to help limit the amount of general fund that's being asked for. And that application requires a 3-year commitment, because you're going to enroll clients on that caseload, and people are on caseload for about 3 years. And so they're asking you to commit to a caseload of, or a cohort of clients, basically.
Where I have a problem with that is, I mean, we tell the sheriff's office all the time, you can't apply for positions that take a 3-year commitment and then turn into general fund. And this one turns into general fund right away, actually. So I do have a little bit of objection to that. I mean, just to be consistent across the board.
And we don't have to apply for that funding source. I also don't know that, I don't know what our success rate would be. It's the last, to my understanding, it's the last quarter they're guaranteeing that they're offering it. Would be applying within this quarter by the end of September for a notification in November.
And that would be a second position anyway, right?
This is for funding that would support this position that we're asking to be created.
Guess I'm back to where I was before, is that on a 1-year program, it's easy to look at. And beyond that, it's a tough program to look at, for sure, because it gets expensive in a hurry.
Yeah, there's definitely, we have more guaranteed funding this first year with rural health transformation. We don't know what additional years of funding from them looks like.
I don't know how easy it's gonna be to find an applicant, knowing that it's only a short-term fund program.
What do you think about that, Joe?
So we are unsure how successful we'll be recruiting this. If we put in language that funding is only guaranteed for a year, I guarantee you we will not find somebody. I mean, part of what we're asking for is that longer commitment. Knowing there is an impact on general fund. We're trying to be very, very upfront.
No, your numbers, you did a great job. It's just scary how big and how fast that climbs.
You can. Yes. And what we've tried to present with that is what we think is the worst case scenario for the timeframes we've laid out.
Certainly been a program that typically uses less general fund than what we project out at the start of each budget cycle, but we don't want to.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you guys do a great job. It's the reality that kind of hits you upside the head. So.
How long has this program been in place?
Nurse Family Partnership since 2014.
Was it before that?
Before that, they would have been doing Babies First, which is funded from OHA, and we use the money that we get from OHA for Babies First to do NFP. It's just Baby First has a larger pool of people that you can serve eligibility wise, which mostly with NFPX now looks very similar. It's just that we can't enroll after babies born. And I think Babies First does that, but I have not done Babies First, so I'm not as familiar with it.
It's not as comprehensive.
It is not nearly as comprehensive. Being with NFP, you get there's extensive training that our nurses are provided through the national office on an evidence-based model that has shown to be impactful. You get ongoing continuing education through them. We just finished one this year around intimate partner violence. They have all kinds of continuing ed that they're requiring the nurses to stay up on. They also provide all of the education facilitators that we use in the home, and that's all copyrighted to NFP. So I mean, if we go away from NFP, we don't really have any structure to our program, and we'd have to kind of rebuild it from the ground up, and you'd be left with $30,000 from OHA is how much they pay for Babies First.
Is there a way to contract that out?
For what piece?
Full piece?
For all of it?
Yeah.
Well, Morrow County already contracts with us to do it for them. So, I mean, theoretically, it doesn't have to be the health department that does NFP. I mean, other healthcare facilities that staff nurses, because NFP in particular does require that it's an RN that provides the service. So if there was another entity that staffed nurses that wanted to pick this up, they definitely could.
And you could help manage that, you think? Well, yeah, if you had a contract, sure you could.
Yeah, the part I don't know doesn't mean it's a no. I just don't know off the top of my head is we are able to bill what's called targeted case management. So bill Medicaid for that service. And to my current understanding, without extra research, only health departments are allowed to bill through targeted case management.
But you could still build a contract. Work.
I don't know that the entity we contract with, unless we contracted with a health department, I don't know if they would be able to bill services they render. I don't know. And it might be that they can, but
The nurse would be yes.
Okay, so yeah, those are union positions, so it really couldn't contract out without the union's permission.
Still be worth investigating. It'd be a twist.
Did you have some thoughts, Jennifer?
Not really. I would say that, I know that Alicia's been working Bojo and Alicia have been working really hard on trying to expand this program and be able to kind of take some of the things off of Alicia's plate where she's trying to run both of these programs. So from that standpoint, I'm supportive of that, but I do understand that, the funding is what ultimately comes down. And that's of course triple C.
Did you say that, there's also a possibility for this to generate revenue as well?
it does. Yes, the supervisor that carries caseload will be able to build targeted case management and bill Medicaid for the clients that they see, and that will bring in additional revenue.
But as the program has never been fully self-sufficient so far, I don't magically expect it to change tomorrow. That makes sense.
You got to build a clientele.
Correct.
Yeah.
And in theory, you're supposed to be able to get there. Reality, it just doesn't quite get there.
They are, what is exciting news related to targeted case management, they are doing a cost rate study again, which they haven't done for several years to my understanding, but we're submitting all of our information on what it does cost to do targeted case management billing. And that's all going to be submitted in August, and we're possibly looking at a rate increase for TCM, which my guess would be effective the following July.
28 or 27.
Correct. Yeah. So we're in the process of hopefully getting an increase on how much you can bill per visit. We started the work for that. And there's still work being done by Change in Oregon that we don't have to pay the match for TCM. So we did have 1 year where we didn't pay match on TCM through the work that Change did. And they are
not expecting that to continue.
No, I mean, they took it to the,
Yeah.
I mean, they took that to the short session, and obviously that didn't go well this
Well,
last cycle.
It passed in the short session, but it was only for 1
1
year,
year.
and then it didn't make it. I know there were other programs that were trying to get in on that in the long session, and it didn't.
Yep.
It didn't get across the line.
It was lucky to get that.
Yeah, it was, and but they're gonna put it again before this next upcoming long session, is my understanding. Things that are coming, and the conversation I've had with McVie is increasing how much, so their revenue cycle is October through September on the federal cycle. And they will So we're basically committing to an increased caseload. Right now, we commit to 32 clients. We're proposing raising that bar to 39 as our commitment to McV. Basically, if you aren't meeting the committed caseload, they'll decrease how much money comes to you. So it's well below the mark of what we actually can carry. It's more than that number of clients, but we'll increase that to 39 this fall, which would increase how much money. And then the proposal is to increase it again the following October. They just needed more lead time to be able to increase it even more.
The 39 will get increased either way, whether we approve this or not, right?
At this point,
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's irregardless of this, because we can still carry that many clients without that.
and it's part of the
Just a more load on it.
Well, it's more, I will say if we are approved NFPX, which should help us to meet that number. And that's why we felt comfortable going forward with that with McV, because with only serving first-time moms and having to enroll before 28 weeks, it's been hard to get to full caseload for the program. So NFPX with enrolling any mom that is pregnant, so it doesn't have to be before 28 weeks and it doesn't have to be first time, just enroll in pregnancy. Kind of opens up the pools of people who can enroll and should help us to be at caseload.
Is that gonna happen either way?
Yeah, those pieces are going to happen
The
either
foul
way.
lanes change either way, right? For the guideline.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was approved. Yeah.
I guess I'd like to see if you could, if there is an opportunity to contract or even contract. And I was looking at the Morrow County contribution and it's not huge.
Morrow County pays for what their staffing requires. So they'd pay for a half an FTE of a nurse and pay for that caseload. I will say they actually get a worse deal than us because they pay for a guaranteed half FTE of a nurse and their caseload is not at half an FTE.
Yeah.
But they pay that regardless of what the number of clients are that are being served. So they're
What do you think about? Yeah, you've got a thought there.
A lot of money.
Well, I know, but you keep saying that you want them to contract out. What exactly?
I'd like to know if there, I'd like to know if there's other options.
Do you have something in particular that you're looking at?
Yeah, an outside contractors
Okay.
Is that like,
program.
Like-
As a program.
I mean, and that's my question. Do you know if somebody has a program you would like to have them look at or?
So let me play that thought out just a little bit. What does that look like to you to contract stuff? More work for you than doing it in-house, or what does that look like to you on a day-to-day basis?
My guess is it would be less work. You'd be looking at reducing staff. And to be blunt, I just don't know that there's anybody who can or would do it.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
We work closely with Umatilla Mara Head Start. They have the Healthy Families program. They're part of the referral network that we work with to ensure folks get connected to whatever resource best makes sense for them. But their program does not staff nurses. This one does. And when you're looking at people staffing nurses, you're kind of limited on facilities that are capable of doing that. Additionally, this is all kind of in a vacuum, along with the Family Connects program that was passed by the legislature for universal home visiting, which also requires nurses to run the program and does require it to be at least in partnership with the LPHAs. I think there is an allowance for the early learning hubs to house that, but it has to be housed at one of those two entities.
I don't know if there's any simulation or not, but I know that our Good Shepherd was explaining their outreach program I don't know how that works, or if that's something that could be
The home health.
a home health with the first time mother program.
I don't know.
I don't know about
I
the
don't
home
know
health
about
for
it.
the first time.
Did
Yeah.
the presentation.
I will say, just to kind of add on to that a little bit, I mean, and I know it's not the same, but at one point we were looking to see whether we could contract for family planning services because we were struggling to recruit and some of those things. And they're not there. So if we're not providing them, they're not happening for our residents. So I just, would
Yeah.
advocate, I guess, in terms of the county dollars and the things that we support to support our residents. I do feel like this is a good one.
Yeah, and I mean, there is, I mean, talk about our own programs, right? There is benefit to dollars directly supporting staff, right? There's not, with everything, there's administrative costs, right? There's extra things within, but these are programs. I mean, currently there are there's three of our staff. I forget what the FTE allotment is. We have three of our staff who actively see clients. This would be the addition of a fourth actively seeing clients in addition to some administrative work that's there.
Here's a little bit of, and it goes to a lot of departments, but especially the departments that are heavily state funded. I mean, I wasn't here, but I remember reading the paper and listening to Jennifer and Robert and Doug were here. But when the state really went through a crash, all of a sudden we're turning our health authority back over to the state. And I don't want to get into the position where that's our only choice. I think that you guys do just an exceptional job over and above any in the state. I put us against the other 35 counties. But I don't want to have to come in here after next year's revenue forecasts and say, I wish we wouldn't have done that one position. Now we're handing this whole platter back to the state. And that's just my gut. Knowing that the state's revenue cast is not good. And we're lucky to be in the position we are. And that just scares the holy hell out. And I don't want to do that to the number one program in the state. To be honest. That's where I'm.
Cindy, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I wanted to know, Joe, what do you think about that? Dan just said.
Oh, I mean, I understand and would agree with that, right? I can't tell you that next year, all of my funds will come in at 100% of what they're expected. But I couldn't tell you that this year. I couldn't tell you that last year. I couldn't tell you that for every year I've been here. Our new funding. I do. Look at this. Whatever I've got is not working. I mean, Robert can attest. Our funding is kind of crazy. It goes up, it goes down, it disappears, it comes back.
It comes back out of nowhere.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
What I can say is the way we have things structured, we try to protect programs as best we can, and where we make cuts depend on where cuts come from. So state's revenue forecasts, as it changes, certain things would be impacted in our department, and certain things wouldn't be, some more than others, right? Some are much more siloed, and some, like modernization being a good example as state general funds, crisscrosses across our department in a whole bunch of ways because that's how it was designed, right? That disappeared in the next cycle. We're looking at some significant shakeups.
Yeah, and there's talk of that. So yeah, I get it.
I can't say it wouldn't happen. But I can't say it wouldn't happen whether you do this or not.
Right. To cut deeper.
Potentially. Or at least in different places.
It's on the agenda.
I'm leaving it. public liaison. I don't know what her
Yeah.
thoughts are.
Absolutely.
Do you want to put it on the agenda?
I want it on the agenda.
Okay.
If it's my choice, I say yes.
Let's do that then. Okay. Thank you.
So what is the total amount you want put on the agenda?
For,
One.
yeah, so for the one position, what we're looking for on the agenda is approval for the creation of the position so we can post it. And then if the board would like us to apply for the 1/3 funding, that requires the 3-year commitment.
I'd make that two different motions.
No, I just, those are the two pieces.
Yeah.
That,
But if you don't get the 3-year commitment,
How do you,
what
how do you advertise?
what is your budget?
so the,
Request, the budget request.
yeah, you got the slide from before.
Well, they're
What's
thinking,
hard is it's tied in with another.
is it the
But,
145 in that one? Or the 298,875?
all right, so our estimate is that incentive fund would provide about $36,000 a year for 3 years. So that would increase our essentially potential general fund asks by $36,000
Annually.
annually, at least over 3 years.
So the general fund support under current services is 298,975. And what you're asking for is in 26, an additional 102,951.47.
I don't think it's 102 in 26. Wouldn't it just be the 30? Yeah. But that included
That's the TCM, so it's that one.
right, but that was the incentive. So it'd be the 39 plus 36,
So 75.
75 on the high end. That assumes we don't get any more funding from McV. That assumes
And no increase in Medicaid reimbursement.
correct.
But also if you found someone when they can start, so.
Well, correct.
we're
All
obviously
of
not
those,
starting Someone July 1.
correct.
And that does assume July 1 in, because it just was a full year calculation.
So it'd be a 75,000. Worst case scenario,
Correct.
bump to the 300 to the 298,725.
Yes. Which we came in significantly less than that ending FY 26.
Do you remember off the top of your head what that was?
Just one page.
Well, that was where we were at that point in time. I think it's on the H drive though. I don't think it's on a Google Doc. It was less than 200,000 total. I can't remember how far less than that. But it was significantly under what the projection or what the
Might even
budgeted
be more than the 75 that you're looking.
probably, yes, very well could have been,
Ballpark.
yes. Yes. And
And you budgeted the same.
every hope that we do the same thing this next year.
So not having your budget in front of me right now, you budgeted 298 then
I think it's on here.
for this position.
Yeah, we budgeted the 298 and this
That was the-
does not include this position.
Correct.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but your budget right now already has the 298,975.
Yes,
And last year you came in around 200.
I believe so, yes.
I mean, net.
Yeah. And I don't know if there was additional revenues coming in, but that goes to support current.
Thank you guys.
Just from the
That's a lot of-
standpoint of we do try to save money where we can.
No, absolutely. I have no concerns about that at all. And I really mean it. You guys do have the number one program. So that's not my hesitation at all.
Alicia, you said that you wanted to get some additional information. So if you want to supply that, that'd be great too. You know, anything that can
Oh,
help.
the stats, the
Oh.
family served.
I think that was for the Hermiston one.
Okay.
But I can.
Yeah, we can send that over.
Yeah, anything additional that you can supply for this would be great.
Okay.
So,
And so Cindy, do you want to put two separate motions, two separate pinkies?
yes,
You'll
let's
work
do-
with them on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, we put them together for the work session, but expected them to be separate things or one's gonna fall off or something.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Again, thanks for the hard work. Okay, before we go to individuals on this, one of the things I want to bring up, and I brought it up with Doug, get together with Nick on this, but one of the things is we've received quite a few contract extensions as we do every year. It's nothing to do. Really, technically, probably all those should come to the commission for approval. Now, some of them are lower, say at under 100,000, and I don't think that we need to see every one of those by any means. But the ones that, and this is, I'm pointing the finger kind of at the sheriff's office on this one, is that we just received an extension, that's almost a $3 million contract that had a 6% increase in it, not a 3%. And I think it would help not only negotiations, but it would help the budget if we had a good, solid, strong policy that first of all, any contract extension over $1 million should come to the commissioners for approval for any number in that range. But I think that any contract with a cost increase of over 2%, above 100,000, or any contract extension above 2% or 3% or whatever the commissioners decide on, should come back to the commissioners for approval, because I think that we have a little bit of lost control on some of those. Budgets are getting tighter, not looser. And not only that, I think if we have that policy in place, that it gives whoever's out there, whether it be the sheriff's office, public works, or whoever, the opportunity to point to a policy and say, hey, vendor, this has got to go back. This is above this. This has got to go back to the commissioners. And so I think that's not only a good tool to have, I think our directors should look at that. And then with that, that would be one of the suggestions I have. So any comments? Yes.
I have a comment just from my standpoint. I guess I'm not sure why. It's always been my assumption that the board we must sign all contracts and they must all be reviewed by that. But at least in my mind, specifically our purchasing policy thresholds would be your minimum in my mind that would come through of what someone could sign for. So if I have a spending limit of $2,500 or whatever it is, then I would say I can't approve anything over that dollar amount. And maybe that's wrong thinking. I don't know, but
Go ahead, Robert. Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. And I think one of the issues, and I think policy already is that, but I think one of the issues is, I mean, and we have, I couldn't begin to guess how many annual maintenance contracts we have, but a number of those come through every year with, oh yeah, this is just a renewal. And in my mind, the renewals like that. I suspect that if you had to review, all three of you had to review all of those, every year, you would get tired of it in a hurry, but I do think it's important that there's a review process because, like you said, something comes through with a 6 or a 10 or a 15% increase, and a department head says, "Oh, that's a maintenance contract on such and such." Whoever they're dealing with believes that they have the authority to do that.
Actually, I mean, for clarification, all of these are coming with for a legal review and signature by a commissioner.
Oh, okay.
It's just for allowed to go to the board rather than just a commissioner signing.
So you don't think there are contracts that are being renewed that,
Or no, not my knowledge.
okay.
Right. These all have gone through the process. It's just that, if it's 5% or whatever, if it should get full board approval, just that.
Okay.
Well, if we approve a contract for, we can use Robert's example of the maintenance agreement. Let's say we do one for the sheriff's office and their software and it has a 3-year maintenance agreement. Every year we know what that's going to be, but if it goes outside of what we agreed upon on day one, then yeah, I think that's, but if it follows, like, we know there's a built-in 2 or 3% increase every year and we signed that on day one. Does it still need to go in front of the board?
No, because you've already signed it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm just getting the clarification. So you're not talking about those.
I think these are more like Helion. Each year we get those renewals.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
expanded. And it's been approved by the board, but whenever the rate is.
We have marketing contracts that come through, health department. We have
It's like,
kitchen.
this is a jail medical.
Yeah, this was the jail medical, but we'll have the same thing with.
Oh, when I heard 3 million, I knew it was jail medical.
Yeah. So
Why did it go up 6%?
their claim is liability insurance.
Don't we carry the liability on that or do they carry it?
Well, I think we both do.
Safety net liability on our side, I think, or,
And these do they sell both of us.
Sure.
but it's in contract that I truly think should have been reviewed this year anyway, if it was going up that much, but we didn't. Anyway, if you guys will give me permission, I can work with Nick and Doug and see if we can't come up with a policy to bring back.
I think that 501 we could probably look at that anyway. It does mention routine contracts, but it says it's not as explicit as I would recommend. It says require board authority and signature, not necessarily approval or board signature. It's board authority. And so I think depending on what the board wants to do, we probably can make it a little clearer.
Okay, any other, Jason, Robert, anything else on that?
I do have a question on the previous, I don't know, on a nursing supervisor or any request that sounds like now will go to the board. Do you also give direction for a reduction somewhere in the general fund accounts of the proposed increase when you would approve? So it's not just straight add. I'm not used to an add after the budget and then do you give direction for somewhere to balance it?
We could, but I think that you would,
I do that. So you say find
I
it.
think we could find it.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know if you also look at that as it.
You're in the CFO.
Yeah.
And you would know where that be best come from, but if you want to ask us, we can definitely do that.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't know if when it comes for a vote, if it goes through, if it's my responsibility to balance, then I heard you talking. I heard you talking a little bit about, the proposed budgeted requirement from the general fund not always being exactly what is proposed or has been traditionally less than, so I saw that piece. I just didn't know if you guys.
No, it's a great question.
Reduction.
It's a great question. Probably a
Yeah.
conversation with Robert, but yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hopefully the department talks to you first though,
Yeah.
and we'll give you ideas.
Yeah, I just didn't know if outside the health department, if there was looking at general fund load that if, when you say yes, you also say reduce here to balance general fund.
Absolutely, you'd have to reduce some
Yeah.
reserve somewhere, some budget
Yeah,
item somewhere.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Pie is only so big.
So the nursing supervisor position opens the same can of worms that you were talking about before.
Absolutely.
We already have that on the books though. Nursing supervisor.
Well, we have a clinic, but we don't have a nurse, family partnership. We don't have an NFP supervisor. We have a category.
But we approved one last year that didn't get filled.
I don't believe it's included in the current budget.
Okay.
I will say that the FTE increase for the Hermiston School District, I think is exactly what we talked about when we created that policy, where, you know, there are things that move outside of our process, and when it's fully funded, so things we have encouraged people to bring forward and for consideration. This other one is different and does absolutely fall in line with what Robert is saying.
Gotta agree with that one.
Yeah, I guess in the back of my mind, I thought that position was still budget. Maybe
Well,
not.
they pulled that. I don't even know that it went through the approval process.
We did approve one that didn't get filled, but I don't know if it got pulled out of their annual budget. But I think their FTE only went down to. I'm doing this, I should do this from memory because my memory's shot. So. But it does fall in that category.
Thank you.
If you had asked for questions on a different topic, I didn't want to go back to that. Whatever question, I don't want to go back and not go back to.
There's no such thing as a bad question in this group.
Yeah, I just, you had asked for specific questions about something else.
So that's fine. You're fine. I enjoy questions on all of this stuff forward about it. The next thing is, as everybody knows, this gets in my craw a lot. Could be
What
anything,
could
right?
we talk here about?
Is these software purchases and negotiations. I have two thoughts on this, and one is to put the software in the same category as we have personnel facilities. That software has purchases or proposals or opportunities to be brought by September of this year. So that if there are additions or needs or presentations that need to be made to us, that they can be done before the budget cycle. And the other thing is, I know we have a semi-complete list of software that's out there. I would like to see it. I know it's going to take a lot of work, but I would like to see those come to us on a same date renewal.
All software across the county.
Yeah,
Is that doable?
it would take it'd probably have a one-time heavier expense, adjustment. But it would put all current and moving forward software extensions at the same review period instead of piecemealing it throughout the year. Those are just two thoughts. I'll open it up for discussion from everybody.
Next wheel's turning over there.
Well, I think I'm thinking about when we went through and drafted the building improvement policy, we had kind of a carve out for projects that would need to be completed during the year. I think that something that should be considered or might want to be considered by the board is if or when something comes up, or if there's a widespread change with the state when it comes to software or something like that, where different things are required, how this policy handle that. If it's not within kind of that current cycle. So just something to think about.
Yeah, it doesn't sound insurmountable.
What do you think, like, maybe on a fiscal year basis?
You had a conversation with Dan Lanai on that.
Nope, that's why I'm doing it here.
Okay,
Cindy's the liaison.
I don't believe I would have that conversation with him today. I think Dan is,
Underwater.
he is upset. I don't think I've ever seen him as mad as he is right now, so. But yeah, that makes a good point. The only thing the industry, Dan, there's so many changes, so quick new stuff, and maybe Nick can answer this. Would that would work? Just doing it once a year?
Well, I mean, there's some software like I think this would be something that we'd have to. It would probably be something that would be, in theory, you could put a policy in place, but I think the board would probably end up revising it over time. There are certain programs that are used by a large number of departments, things like Adobe, Word, etc. And I'm not sure how the board wants to handle that, but
that's a perfect example, because we have how many contracts and how many departments on Adobe alone? It's not a blanket. I mean, we have different departments that have started different contracts over the years that aren't consolidated into one platform or one contract. I think that's kind of a perfect example, actually.
Maybe ignorance on my part, but when I think about Adobe and Word, I think of those as just licenses. Then we get into a staff member, we have a computer.
Right.
I don't think of that the same as some big global contract renewal.
so Dan or Red would probably be the people to speak on that, but I think, at least for Word anyway, it's bundled through a commercial licensing deal from, and so it's one big, but then they're doled out to departments as needed for different companies and installed through use of a code. But I think it's something where people want to get specifics for Dan or Riley because they're the experts in this area. Employees that all need Word, get through their licenses, let's install them through different.
They have control. They can do the same thing with Acrobat or several of them. But there's different departments that have their own licenses for those historically that just hung on to them, and they don't consolidate.
We have the same thing with credit cards.
Yeah, we do. And I'm not gonna be here, but when that happens, I would consolidate just in a heartbeat. Without argument.
I don't know if this is unique to the schools, but we did work hard with GASB 96 and licensing and subscription. In terms of our forward, we had to start disclosing a forward commitment to the public if we had made a 3-year annual subscription as a part of our financials. So I don't know if that's unique to only schools or not, but we do it. I had a lot of success with negotiating with individual companies to try to get them in their invoicing. You know, if I had to get 4 months or 6 months, I have had some success with getting them sort of just asking them, are you willing, as opposed to having an increase in March that wasn't in the budget or whatever, and to try to get them lining up. I do think it's work, but they have been willing to say, okay, well, we'll do a partial and then we'll start it with your fiscal year. And I never found one that said no to me, but I don't know, if that's exactly what you're talking about or not.
Part of it. Yeah, it is part of it. But I think maybe if Cindy sits down with Dan and maybe we have a special work session just strictly on software and what you need to do.
I have one more thing in there. In talking to Robert, we have talked about, as AI increases and we get, for an example, in dispatch, $225,000 increase, that there would also be a discussion about a reduction in FTE that would pay for that. So that, again, we're not just adding and then disconnected. So just a desire to think in terms of, as the load of the machine takes more from the people, to pay for it with ongoing FTE as opposed to just yes.
No, that's actually gotta be totally part of that discussion each time.
And in the dispatch scenario, it seemed that the load on the FTE was higher than we could provide actual people. So we were paying for it with unfilled positions, seemingly in the words. I just don't know that we've actually closed any of the unfilled. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, I still see them both in the budget, both the ad and the open FTE. And I don't know if it will come to a place where we realize what we're saying, we're going to close this one open position to pay for that increase. In the idea that there's a reduction in human hours needed.
Yep.
I just think it's going to keep coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else on this topic?
Since we're on this topic, I would add gas cards to this. Because I know we do Wex cards to the county, but I think sheriff's office is using their own different card, aren't they? Or do they get to go to Wex finally?
I don't believe any of them are on Wex. They have several other options.
Multiples, yeah, including US Bank.
Well,
That's the credit card side.
Yeah, but they will use that.
Oh, they do.
But we also have direct billing and public works.
and public works is a different creature. They buy a lot of bulk fuel, which Wex would not provide.
Right.
But
Sheriff's office, perfect example.
Go ahead, Jerry, were you gonna say something?
No.
Yes, you were. Okay, anything else on that? Okay. Take a quick trip around the room, Jennifer.
I have a 10:30 meeting, so I'm probably gonna miss the chair meeting, with,
We're not gonna need one if we get all the way around.
I don't have any.
Jason.
Robert, I'm gonna be gone Tuesday through Thursday. You know that. Other than that, I don't have anything too crucial to talk about.
Thank you. Jennifer, or, Kelsey?
We have anybody we want to throw on the radio this Thursday? Cindy won't be able to make it.
I won't be here.
I don't know if anybody
We'll figure out the gals.
Okay, so you
Jason?
sing on the radio?
It's your.
I'll just let him know we don't have anybody to tell us about it.
Yeah, they've been backed up anyways.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. It's very, first at all at the same time.
I will be taking off the 15th and I'll be gone through the 28th of July.
Good for you.
And then it looks like my last full thing will be August 7th.
2009.
No,
2009, no.
39.
29.
Desk clean. Second.
August 7th.
I'll be available after that.
See you at the fair. Okay, John?
Doug, I'm happy for you. I'm extremely sad for the rest of us, though.
Yeah, it's crappy, actually.
No, I haven't. Still not sure. I figure out a way to change that into a statue.
Cindy? And I'll be gone to Salem tomorrow and gone most of the rest of the time.
Wednesday. Hearing processor being in place.
Wow, that's exciting, actually.
Yeah, so I can't talk any more bad when she's right next to me.
You
Can't make the snide remarks.
I have a couple of quick questions. Hey, just out of curiosity, the flood today, was it a human error, mechanical error?
The deterioration of old equipment.
Okay.
And
then is there any, and this is a little facetious, but is there any idea which fiscal year they're gonna be done on the roof?
the one that gives me a headache every morning to start the day.
Yeah, you're still here.
Almost done.
They are.
Yeah, they were almost done last year.
Yeah.
I don't know the day. I don't know how Jennifer does.
I mean, I'm sorry to be so, but it's just like, good grief, finish the stinking roof.
Yeah.
This roto hammer in the morning is just getting.
And is there a retention on a project this size?
We do have retaining shop, but I am,
So there's some.
I'm afraid what the bill's gonna actually come into, because
We haven't authorized any.
we haven't authorized any increases, but
Well, that was part of the original thing, wasn't it? We're not gonna authorize any change orders and. So,
When I was up there last week, there was just one section that they had still left open.
But they're
because it
back
wasn't
to
dried
reserve
out.
now.
A lot of labor for a lot of.
oh my gosh, they've had a lot of people work that's done it for a long time.
They-
well, I think it's being done right for a change.
And the crane's gotta be $500 a day minimum. It's probably more like $1,000 a day.
Tell you what, the guy drives it, know what he's doing. We'll give that to him.
It's $1,000 a day.
So exactly what had happened, do we know?
Yeah, hot water heater in courtroom 2.
So it would be pretty old then.
And it was a pipe that started with, or flex hose, started with they think, with a pinhole and got bigger and started a long time ago, like Friday.
Always happens when we're making.
Oh, absolutely.
They've been
I've been a party to many floods, and generally they start right before a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Marty has those alarms, water alarms in some places now that are historic for flooding, but.
But we're gonna get another one.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Hot water heater for the shower that nobody uses.
You still judging it.
Okay, that's all I have, unless anybody else has something to add. Oh, that's a question. Yeah.
Fire on the hill. We have somebody have a current update.
Literally just got an update on it, on watch duty. Just reading that actually.
I know that I ran into all of the folks at 10 minutes to 6, all the firefighters getting their lunch at Walmart this morning, and they thought that they'd be here for a while, not because of the danger, but just because of where it was and how long it's gonna take to get them off up there.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. So this is as of 3 minutes ago. It's 4,000 acres, 12% contained. There's 252 personnel assigned to the fire, 6 large air tankers, 4 single engine air tankers, or otherwise known as seats, 1 Type 1 helicopter, 4 Type 2 helicopters, 6 Type 2 hand crews, 12 engines, 4 dozers, and 4 water tenders. So, there's some scene, yada, yada, yada.
I just want to say that we went out and watched that for a while last night.
What?
Yeah, anyway, those big aircrafts coming in and they're up on the top of the ridges, just very neatly laying down that retardant. And it's burning down below and it gets up to a certain spot and then it stops. You know, it's just very well orchestrated.
Good. I'm
And
glad to hear that. And
Yeah.
did it start in Escopa Creek or?
Well, what I understood, it was the top on USF property.
At a residence, is what I was told.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Fireworks?
I don't know if it's fireworks or not, but I was told it started at a residence.
I heard that it burned near a residence, didn't burn the structure.
No, it didn't burn the structure, but it started at the
Is
residence.
that where, that's not what I heard, but that,
That's what I heard.
I heard it was,
And I think it's part of it is up in the timber now, I think. And,
or down.
I know.
Down in Kansas too, because they're having a hard time getting down.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with that area at all, you realize that you're not going up and down any of those hills.
No, really.
You might get up on the top or the bottom, but you're not going up and down.
No, and that's exactly the issue they're having, so. But I know every time they drop the retardant, I was talking to Tony Parati the other day, he said it was $15,000 a drop on the retardant. Every time you see that, it's 15K.
Plus all those little helicopters going down,
No,
on the bottom of the canyon.
yeah, it's probably gonna cost more than nothing.
There's your alarm clock. Dan, right there.
September 16th, there's a board meeting and that's right smack in the middle of Roundup. You want to look at rescheduling that?
September 16th.
What day?
Maybe you can reserve for room 17.
I don't think so. I think they were spoken for.
I don't think we've ever canceled them. I think we've just had them and moved on.
You guys are good. Thank you. Certainly fine with it.
That's somehow.
Put that in the notes. Doug is okay with it.
And so's Robert.
Doug and Robert agree.
Going back.
So I want to say something about the water, the road this morning or the water. There is water sensors on, and Marty did get a notification that something was wrong. And so, he sent Corey down here to take a look because he thought it was outside the building. And they looked around, couldn't find anything. And so, he said the water sensors are working fine. He just didn't realize where it was or what it was. So. Just wanted everybody to know
The
that.
notification.
He got the notification like exactly right after it got started.
Friday.
Yeah,
Hey, Corey didn't find anything, obviously.
they thought it was outside. So anyway, I'm not much to keeping secrets, and Marty feels horrible and came and talked to me this morning, but that's what happened.
So brings up a whole nother talk. So we have talked for years about preventive maintenance, which I think that falls in that line. It's like at your house, you every so often you change all the supply lines to your dishwasher and your washer because those hoses, they wear out. That's just normal preventive maintenance. And I don't know what kind of conversation we have with Marty, and I think Marty's very capable, but I think, those are the kinds of things that's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars and all kinds of extra work. And there's some places you're never going to think to do that, but there's probably not all that many water heaters in the building that would be something they could put on a schedule.
Sure.
Well, now I'm gonna go home and change all my water lines. Thanks a lot.
I mean, it's just a fact of life that those hoses don't last forever. And if you don't pay attention, they break. And I'm not saying that you're able to find all of them, but it's a shame that that's what the problem was.
And if you actually looked at the where it was just this tiny, tiny little thing.
It's amazing how much water under pressure does.
Exactly. So.
That's Perkins is.
Yeah, we adjourned.
That was just a teeny little hole.
You're dirty.
We're done, Tim.
Adjourned. I'm waiting for a phone call.
Enjoy your phone calls, but I hope